Hello, WCET members and friends, and welcome to our first video interview for the Frontiers blog. Today I have with me Anne Derryberry, who is an associate with Sage Road Solutions, specializing in learning solutions design and production. So we're just going to go through and ask a few questions, and Anne, we appreciate you sharing your time and knowledge with us today.
My pleasure to be with you, Callie. Thank you.
Yeah. First, I'd love if you could share with us how you came to study and work with badges in particular, as over the last couple of years you've worked with us on several badging initiatives.
Well, it actually comes out of my work with in game-based learning. As you mentioned, I'm a learning solutions designer and have been developing learning solutions for quite a while. And in the course of all of that work, I became very interested in how games might be able to enhance learning experiences for folks of all ages, not just young people, and developed a few games that we have used in different learning situations. And along the way, became introduced to the concept of badges as a way to mark achievements and accomplishments within a game setting. And the more I got to thinking about that, the more intrigued I got about what the potential was for using badges in a learning situation. As it turned out, at the time that I was thinking about that, there were other people thinking about the same idea in different pockets. We hadn't connected with each other yet, but the folks at Mozilla were starting to think about this in big and important ways. So I learned a bit about what they were doing and became quite fascinated with the potential that badges have for not just marking achievement and acknowledging accomplishments and that sort of thing, but also in how we could be using badges as alternate forms of certification and through assessment programs and that kind of stuff.
Great. As it relates to the game Who's Got Class, which you designed and were the game master for last year for WCET members and friends, that did result in badges for those who participated. Would you share a little of your learning from that experience?
Yeah, that was a great experience. We were trying to demonstrate to your membership what game-based learning could be about and what badges could be about, and thought that maybe a good way to do that was to bring those two kind of novel ideas together and give people an experience on the receiver side, if you will, so that they would understand what it feels like to be a student in that kind of a setting, and would then be able to extrapolate on that experience to think about how they might cause game-based learning or badges to come into play in the work that they are all involved with back at the ranch, if you will. So this experience was really very interesting. We had a number of members who participated. I don't remember the exact number right now, but we had hundreds of people who were participating with this, and I think that we got a lot of interest from folks in what these kind of unique ideas were about. What I learned myself was that this whole badge business has tremendous potential to it. It's a complicated thing to undertake. It's really important to understand exactly what you want to get out of any one of these programs before you actually begin to design it and think through all of the elements at play before you put anything out there for people to play around with. But I think that one of the things that was one of the biggest learnings out of all of this was what a fertile community the cooperative is, and how interested everybody is in pitching in and learning new stuff and trying things out. And it was, I think, a really great kind of demonstration activity for everybody who got involved with it. I hope you guys agree. Oh, good.
I would definitely agree, having been involved in it And the feedback that we got from our members was fantastic. They enjoyed the experience and they learned a lot, and then could take those experiences forward into their own work, like you said, back to the ranch, which is at the heart of WCET. So
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I think as a group we all came to understand together was that perhaps one of the initial places that Badges for Learning might support post-secondary education is in faculty development, professional development for faculty at all levels and in many different situations. And we got a lot of feedback, as you're suggesting, a lot of feedback around that very topic.
Yep. Well, so related to that, this year you have helped us, along with Blackboard and the Mozilla Foundation, design and implement a MOOC on using badges as currency for professional credentials. Could you talk a little bit about what's been different about the MOOC experience? Is it more professional development than the demonstration project Who's Got Class was, or is there any learning you'd like to take from that, as we're just really seriously just wrapping up on that?
Yeah, this is more of a professional development activity than the game was. That was really more. It had a serious side to it, so that people actually could derive learnings from Who's Got Class. But that was a lighthearted game kind of program that didn't have a whole lot of meat to it. It didn't have specific and strong learning outcomes that were organized into the game. You know, it was, as I say, it was a lighthearted experience. This MOOC, by turn, is intended to be very serious in its content, although we hope it's interesting and somewhat interesting and engaging and perhaps even a bit fun for the participants. But we've taken a very, very rich and deep topic, as we've come to understand it, that being badges for learning, and badges as a vehicle for professional credentialing and alternative credential programs and that sort of thing, and fleshed it out into a robust learning situation. It is one of the, I think, biggest learnings out of all of this for all of us and for the participants as well, is that designing and implementing a badge system for a learning environment is a very complicated proposition, one that involves lots of planning and lots of players, as it should, because it's a serious proposition to redefine what a credentialing system might look like and what all of its component parts are, and still meet the kinds of learning outcomes and professional objectives, both on the issuer side, that by which I mean the post-secondary institutions, and the consumer side as well. It's a very it is a complicated undertaking, but I think that what we've been able to do through the MOOC is to lay out the kind of thinking and planning that is entailed, and give people guidelines and sort of support in how to think about putting their own kinds of programs together.
I agree, and we've seen some great projects start out of that as well. Some of the students, as we talked about last week on our last live session, have done great work and are moving these things forward in their own places of employment, which is really exciting to see those things come out of.
Very true, and one of the points that has been underscored in the MOOC and the projects that our participants have been coming up with circles back to what I was saying earlier about what a learning was out of the Who's Got Class game, and that is how fertile the ground is for faculty professional development. That continues to be a primary point of entry, I think, in the minds of many people, which is
Yep.
Interesting.
Especially for post-secondary, as you said. That's
Yep. Indeed.
A great place to learn as you go.
Exactly so. Right.
Yep.
And learn the lessons for how, you know, as you're undergoing your own professional development, you get ideas about how you might be able to take the experiences you're having and then implement them into academic programs and learning settings for students.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do one quick wrap-up question here with looking at what are your aspirations for gaming and badging's role as we look towards the new economy of education?
Well, I think that we're going to see a whole lot more emphasis on badges than we are on game-based learning. There are several reasons for that. If putting together badge systems is challenging, putting together game-based learning that is meaningful and replicable and sustainable is even more challenging. Given where the challenges are in post-secondary education today, badges speak more to the issues at hand and offer greater and more immediate potential, I think, than game-based learning does. Both have a place in the future of education, I think, but badges have an immediate and long-term, I think, potential for answering some of the challenges that we face as the greater community. Stackable credentials are a kind of a hot topic right now, and badges are a vehicle to lay out stackable credentials in a way that many can absorb, I think, pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of activity in that area. We have a lot of work to do. Badges for learning is a new concept, and there are tools that are coming online to help people put their own programs together. There's lots of thinking going on. There's research that's beginning and a lot of academic writing to support the work that's happening. But we're just at the beginning of this kind of movement, and it's an area that needs considerable attention and a lot of testing and a lot of experimentation to figure out where all of this is ultimately going to shake out. But there's a bright horizon, I think, for badges in learning. It's fun to be a part of these demonstration projects with WCET to kind of test some of these ideas out and see as a community where we can take all of this and work together toward some of these answers that we're all seeking.
I agree. So we've so appreciated working with you, Anne, and appreciate you taking time today to do this interview and share with us a little bit of your background and what you've learned from the projects that you've done with WCET.
Thank you for your interest. It's my pleasure to do it.
Great. Well, that will conclude this video interview. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the resources available from our MOOC and future resources available from WCET on badging and alternative credentialing in the future.
May I just add that the MOOC will be available to everyone for the foreseeable future, and as Cali says, there are lots and lots of very rich resources there for people to take advantage of, and we would encourage you to stop by and take a look. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, Cali.
Thanks.